let's get started. It's 6:04 on September 12th. Facilities meeting. All committee members are present with the exception of Mike Wolf, who is absent this evening. We also have the facilities director, the superintendent, high school principal, assistant principal, Aaron Spors, and the business manager. With that, I will, I'm assuming, I think I talked to Casey earlier, and we kind of have all the equipment that was put out to bid for auction has closed. So we have numbers for those. Some of the trucks are currently out, I think. They're still out, right?
No,
Or
they
closed
on
as well?
Sunday.
Okay, so they put the, can you just pick off this list which ones were out on for auction?
The F-150, where am I sheet here?
The Ford F-150, the Dodge 2500, and the Ford Dually.
That's the 2000?
So that would be the 2000 Ford, 2005 Dodge, and the 2001 Ford.
Okay. The vans, I'm assuming two of those are athletic and two of those are the mail delivery stuff?
Well, the 2001 is the former maintenance that's parked out here with 123,000 on it.
Okay, so that's,
The old carpenter's van.
Yep.
so that's parked.
And then the GMCs are your athletics. And the 2007 Chevy is currently being used for combination carrier/athletics as necessary.
As needed if they have a busy day and don't want to send a bus.
Okay, so there's only one that's used for the courier
Correct.
position. Okay,
Correct.
all right.
It's courier daytime and athletics evening as needed.
Okay, the 92
Or
is...
band. I think the band used it every once in a while as well.
Okay,
The hall stuff.
so that first truck, the 92, you said is just really salvage?
Yeah, that's parked over by the middle school, correct?
Yep.
That was a twin to the one that we sold in December.
That Connor
Will
bought?
not pass. That will
Okay.
not pass inspection.
That's why I labeled it as salvage. I didn't even attempt that.
Okay. The 15 is the one that Casey was using, correct?
No, the 15 Ford 350 is, and the 16 350 were the maintenance Browns.
Okay, that's right.
The 250 was the one I was using.
Okay. Okay, and the 2001 box truck,
Van truck.
that's currently going to continue to be used?
I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, unless we would
They
decide.
haven't requested anything else, so
But
that
they
would
continue
stay.
to use it, do they
Yeah,
not?
and they use it
Okay.
to take all
We
the
just-
equipment to all their events.
Yeah, so that, we gotta remember
So
that,
these are all the vehicles, not just the ones that we don't know, we no longer need?
yeah, you have to remember
Correct.
one thing, that band truck was donated by the boosters at no expense. The only expense incurred is the yearly state inspection and maintenance
And insurance,
and insurance.
which is nominal. Okay. I just want to,
And one
yeah.
of the F-350s will need to be used to tow the band trailer, because currently, I believe a parent is towing that band trailer.
Correct. And we used to use up to the point where we checked, they told us the van had electric brakes.
The athletic vans.
Yeah, and we used it and then found out it did not.
And that's when we put the new transmission in last year. And all new
So,
brakes.
does a parent drive that? Like, if they would use our truck, would it be a parent using it, or would it be a,
Parent.
That's what has happened in the past with the
Correct.
Dually, with the standard transmission.
Right.
was a
I
parent.
think the last time we used it, we went to US Bands in New York, and actually Mike drove it.
Right.
I knew Mike had driven.
then
Right.
is there any issue
Co-pilot.
with our insurer with that?
We should have them logged in and a copy
And we
of
should
their
probably have a
driver's
copy of their
license.
driver's license.
Ensure
Okay.
that they have a driver's license.
Yeah, okay. And we should probably just have a policy for it. I don't know if we do. But if we don't, and then, I don't know if he needs to answer this or not, but the 71 Jersey trailer? Do you know what that's for?
I'm not sure where Casey is with all the trailers. There are a couple that I know that's questionable. We
Are any of them band trailers, Scott? do you
One
know?
of those,
Yeah, the
Would be that we
enclosed,
use.
either the Hallmark or that,
the Hallmark, I believe, is the
Is the band, okay.
band trailer. Then there's an old band trailer that's,
the old antique store trailer.
yeah, I think Casey used that for storage at one time.
Okay,
Jersey is the one that's got a fake serial number on it. That's why it's got that funny VIN. Yeah, no, I think it's an R title or,
or it just wasn't
Home builder.
registered, maybe?
Yeah, it was a home build, remember, and they used a mobile home trailer axle, and that's what broke, and that's when we figured out that we couldn't tow the mowers on it anymore.
Okay,
he can tell you that.
okay.
Is the Jersey trailer the one that's toast,
Correct.
top one there with that funny
Yes.
VIN?
So is it here, like,
It is at Levan's Machine Shop up on Route 12. I took it up to inspect it, and all the axles were mobile trailer axles rather than equipment axles. When they took the modulars, they took the axles from the modulars and put it underneath the trailer, because they got the trailer from Amity Township. That's what I was told.
so should we salvage that, or are you looking?
There's
to-
actually a gentleman up at Levan's that is interested in it, about buying it. So I had asked them to make me an offer, and it's back in their, out of their way, so it's one of those things out of sight, out of mind, so I will reach out to
Okay.
them again.
Which one's the band trailer?
The Hallmark, I think?
Hallmark.
Okay, and then the other two, the classic and the international, are they,
The Classic and International, one of them is the old band trailer. I don't remember which one that is, the smaller of the two band trailers, and then the other one is the small utility trailers that we use.
so you want to keep
so-
both of those, or one of those, or
Well,
none of them?
apparently the
or-
old band trailer hasn't been moved in, Scott, help me out here.
Years.
It's
So I think the
years.
deal, you needed that for storage at one
We
time.
had talked about making that into a storage trailer.
So it's an enclosed trailer, it's not a
Yeah.
flatbed trailer?
No, yeah,
Okay,
this is closed.
all right.
These are all closed?
No.
No.
And it came up the other day, George had said the storage shed up in the macadam, up in the upper lot that football uses is falling apart. So my thought was, if we can get the axles to roll, just tow it up there and take the axles off and put it on the ground, and let them, use it for storage.
And then the other one you use?
The other
So
one
we don't
is
really,
used, right.
so we don't really need to worry about the trailers, other than that one from the 1971, we should see if
Yeah,
we
and
can
I'll
get
never
rid
get a
of.
scrap metal cost for that,
Okay,
so.
okay, then do you have, the results from the other stuff, or?
I emailed them over to Lauren, so you can
Well-
follow them in his.
As far as the trucks, the actual results, the 2004 Dually came in at 5,800.
So that's, I'm sorry, 2000?
That's the 2004, right?
Oh, Ford, I'm sorry, I think it's 2004, I'm sorry. Okay, so, what did you get, come in at 5,800?
5,800 was the high on that. The Dodge came in at 10,500, but it's got the brand new plow package on it as well. Blue Book was 10,775 plus the plow, so that came in way low. Now the F-150, Blue Book was 2,750 plus the plow. That's got one of the older plows, correct,
Mhm.
Casey?
Yep.
But that came in at 4,400. So the
Okay.
question is, what do you want to value that used plow in relation to the chip to the Blue Book of 2,750?
I would think $1,400 is, or 27, 37, I mean, you're looking at
Is the 4,400 with the plow?
Yeah, that was.
You're saying that was the offer?
Yeah,
with
yeah.
I mean, that's $1,500, so a
Seems
little,
pretty good.
I think that one's probably a fair number.
4,900, I'd sell it for that.
I was as generous as I could be with the Blue Book on, but that truck with 83,000 and the problems it's had with body and mechanical, 2750s, probably a good number for that. So if you get 4,400 for the package, I would think you'd want to get rid of it. What do you think, Casey?
that one, yeah.
I would think I'd be happy with that. It's $13.50 for the plow.
Is the Dodge, is that offered with the plow?
Yes, they're all,
So
And
they're
that plow's-
offering 10.5.
That plow's brand new. I don't know that I'd probably try to see if we could rebid that one.
2005.
the plow.
One or two days, pretty much. And just miscellaneous cleanup the other times. But-
Cause
Can you go back for a counter?
I
Or once-
know the gentleman that was high for that truck is very interested in it. He just called me 3 times today, on following up. So, he's a landscaper. He's looking forward for plowing for the season, to get another truck in his fleet.
Right.
All of his trucks are stick shift. Of course, his workers don't know how to drive stick shift, so that one's automatic. So he was here, he drove it, he looked underneath it, he was very interested. So,
Well, we don't have any bidding requirements, so I would think we could counter. Right? I mean, what Brian said is we don't have to, I mean, we put it out for auction because we were trying to get the highest bid, but we don't have any requirement to do that, so
Disposal.
I would think you could come up with, you think is a fair number and say, well, this is
Well,
what we.
that's a good offer without the plow.
Right. I mean, I don't know what the plow, and maybe you see if you can sell the plow separate if you can't get.
on the Dodge, that's the brand new one, yeah.
So what's one of those cost, brand new, 4
60
Gs?
6,400.
6,400? Yeah, I mean,
I mean, he's not gonna buy the truck without the plow, so.
Right.
You can definitely negotiate, with him on that.
do we have a truck that we're gonna keep that doesn't have, that we don't need a plow?
All the trucks have plows.
I'm saying, but do we have one that we're gonna keep that doesn't need a plow? Like, is there an older plow in another truck that we can
That we
offer
could,
them?
no.
No, because the mounts are not the same.
Oh, okay. That's not universal.
No. All of our new plows are universal, they can be switched between the trucks, but the older ones, can't.
Well, I guess the question is too, like, what do we think's a fair number? I mean, 15? 16?
How old's the plow? Year old?
Year old, and
Plow's
but it
a
was.
year old. The truck has body damage on the passenger side, tailgate. It has a lot of scratches, a lot of wear and tear. So I was surprised when I saw the blue book came in at that, and I don't know what the trucks are going for nowadays anymore.
So,
Transmission never been worked on,
That training's solid.
so it's never been opened.
It's never been opened up, but it has, 72,000 miles on it with plow miles on it, kind of thing. So,
That's pretty good for that generation, because that generation's supposed to have the Dodge Death Wobble.
yeah,
So if you haven't had that,
yeah,
that's probably pretty good.
yeah.
so if we look to base in Blue Book value with the plow brand new, you're looking at 17,175, which obviously we know depreciates. So I don't know. I mean, would you look at it? I mean, to me, like maybe if we could get 15 for it.
I was going to say you're 14.5, 15.
I don't know. Do you have anybody else have any thoughts on that? Maybe we kind of make a recommendation to see if they'd be willing to offer that. And if they're not, then we maybe look at partnering. I mean, you could offer the plow separate on Municipal and the truck and see if that worked. Unless anybody else has any other ideas on how to go about selling it.
And that guy called you 3 times, what do you have to say?
Well, he's called me and I had my hands and stuff every time he called, so, I'll just say he sent me a text and called me twice. So, yeah, that door, that truck does have some alignment issues with the driver's door as well. So, there is some wear and tear on that truck, so, I'd say anywhere between 13 and 15 would probably be 13 on the very low end, 15 would probably be on your high end on it. Yeah, because even though the plow costs us $6,000,
Right. I mean, I understand we're not going to get the full price for it, but
I have no idea what that guy's willing to pay. He was just explaining to me that municipal bid, you can't like put a high bid, like a max bid, like eBay. You know, if you wanna, if you wanna offer 5,000 for something that bids at 1,000, you can't just put a max bid, and he was telling me, I've never bid on it, so I don't.
I've put
I
in a
don't-
bid, but it won't automatically bid against yourself, so if nobody
Right,
else
yeah.
goes higher, right, so maybe that's what he means. Because
So at the end,
you
it's
can put in a max bid, but it only goes if,
Okay,
And then the computer keeps going
Right.
until you hit your max, and then it asks
got
you
you.
if you want to try your
Right.
max.
yeah. I mean, I'm okay with this. I mean, I guess this would be a procedural question. Would we broach with the full board about trying to ask or negotiate for another number? Or do we let him see if he can negotiate and then go to the full board and see if they'll take it?
I think the board's waiting for a recommendation from the committee for disposal of equipment.
Right. So we're still
Casey
in.
can see what he can do.
Okay.
Back to you, and then bring it back to the full board.
Okay,
As
Okay.
far as the Ford,
yeah,
I think that if you've got a live bid for 4,400 as of last night, I think
oh yeah, for the 2001, I would recommend we take that.
Yeah.
Now the dually, you said the 2000 Ford, they offer 5,800. Is the plow that old too? I mean, is the plow?
that's the old Curtis plow with all the relays that are underneath it.
I'd probably recommend taking that then
Yeah,
too.
take-
And that one's pretty banged up. I mean, that has no the tailgate on it's homemade. The
Oh,
seat
yeah.
has duct tape all over the seat. It's pretty beat.
Okay. So, are we comfortable then with recommending the 2000 Ford and the 2001 Ford, that they accept those bids? And then that basically, we'd like to try to get 13.5 to 15 for the other one, and Casey's going to
Is that
reach
what you're
out to the
looking-
bidder.
is that-
I would think somewhere in
Yeah.
between there. I
Can we
think,
give him a low number?
I don't know that I'd go below 13.5. I think I'd try to
Yeah.
sell the plow separate first.
I'll hit him high and see what he comes back with.
I think
I think I'd
yeah.
ask for 15 and see what he comes back with.
I'd ask them what's your high number. Obviously, we
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
got to get the most we can.
Right.
Obviously, he knows.
We still have a plow with the truck, your truck.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
all trucks have plows.
Yep.
All right, then the next question would be the 3 new trucks. Thoughts on those? Because as you know, some of the board is looking to sell them all. So,
Well, we need one for the band trailer. Okay, so that one's got to stay.
My thoughts were, since the Courier van has as many miles as the Courier van has on it as well, if it would be, and I don't know the cost incurred, I was just thinking about it last week, was possibly take the truck we want to use for the band trailer, convert that into a mail truck. Put just a basic
on.
enclosed box on the back of it so they can keep their bins dry, and they would still be able to tow the band trailer with it evenings and weekends.
I was going to ask you if you could use that for whatever they use the courier van for, because I was thinking the same
They wouldn't
thing.
be able to use it in the setup it is now with an open bed. That would not work, but it would need some type of an enclosed box on the back of it of some type, with bins and whatnots. So, I mean, that's definitely an option. It's far from ideal, because you really want to have a cab with an enclosed box so you can walk through to get into that back. But currently they kind of leave their bins between their seats, and they kind of shuffle through the envelopes. If we were to convert that truck, we would kind of have to change their routine a little bit and just have them do their pickups in the morning, come back at a location somewhere and sort, and then go out their afternoon runs, deliver, pick up, sort in the morning, and kind of do it that way. They kind of sort as they go now, so if they pick up stuff at the high school and they know they're going to Amity, they'll look at the high school stuff for Amity, pull that out, kind of thing. So they spend time in the truck sorting. We would just have to kind of have them no longer they wouldn't have that option anymore. They just have to be able to throw it in the truck.
But could they do it where they're at? Like, I don't know where they pick the mail up, but if they pick the mail up at the high school in an office, can they take 5 minutes there and kind of sort through it while it's sitting on the, and
And they
then,
could.
They do, too,
Right.
somewhat, you know, just like a quick, if they're, like Kay said, if they're going to Amity, like, I usually see them sit at the table outside my office and just go through it, kind of just pull everything and move it to a corner, you know?
Which van are they using right now for
The
the,
white one,
which?
That would be the 2007.
7.
and that has seats in it, you said? It's not like
There's seats for the athletic teams as well, so that's
see,
why
I
they
just
use
assumed
it.
it was a cargo van.
No, that's why they use it in the way that, the manner they use it,
Okay.
because it still has the
No.
seats for.
Do we have an idea, what's the value of that? Do we have an idea?
I didn't.
I mean,
that one.
the value of that versus putting a box on the back of a truck and then only being able to utilize it halfway to get by to do their job.
2/3, because we won't be able to use it for athletics anymore, right?
Well, it would stay for athletics then.
Right.
I'm saying that you
So you'd have
would
three
keep
for
They
athletics.
would make that truck the courier truck,
Got it.
and then that would be here
I think you
for
could,
the band as well.
All the vans are passenger,
Correct.
Except
Except for the 2000 and,
the old one.
yeah,
2001.
the one that's on the
That's
list for
a,
1700.
that's cargo,
that's a cargo. It has no tool bins in it, no roof rack, that's just
straight
a
empty.
seat.
And you said that's parked right now, right? It's not being
That's right
used?
here.
Is that run?
Do you want to get rid of it?
I mean, couldn't they use that for the courier?
That has higher mileage than the courier van.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, if it runs well, I mean, I don't know, like, you
It-
could make bins for it, or.
so the one out there, that's the one that has 123,000 miles.
I think
That's
the
worth
courier van is
$1,700.
100 and- Right around
Maybe.
100,000 if I'm not mistaken.
Now you get $500 for it.
Right, but if you could use it for the mail van,
I'm saying use it for the mail van until
Right.
it dies, till it craps out.
Yeah.
And then,
Right.
you know, if it's gonna cost you $1,500 to fix it, say, see you later, scrap
And we
it,
can
and
do
then
that as
deal with
well.
it, deal with this again.
And we can do that as well.
Yeah, you
That's-
get your life out of it. I'd rather do that
I mean, I'd
than
re-
put a box on the
It's not
truck.
worth selling, it's worth more to us using than selling, you know?
Because obviously, keeping one of these newer trucks, we have a plow. Last thing you want to do is plow with a box on the back of the truck.
Correct. But we won't, well, we're not gonna be plowing this
Well, you
this
know,
winter.
hopefully.
Right.
If you get a so-called big storm.
Well,
something needs
it's-
open, you're gonna open
it's-
it,
yeah,
right?
I mean, I know last year, Monocacy, there was complaints within the residents that there was no road plowed. Mr. Bear said there was no road going in there, which means there's no fire lane. It wasn't until a couple of days later that was open. Where,
Monocacy Elementary. Yeah, I don't think that was plowed the first day. Because he was plowing
right?
while we were.
I think he
we
was
were tied up in
was
the rough.
called later to go out and plow. So,
Oh, because you didn't have it, you only have one thing big enough probably to plow on that.
We
if
could have
that.
cut a path through.
Right.
It's just, they were over at Birdsboro, I was at the middle school,
right.
he was at the high school. Just wasn't, there wasn't enough people, and trucks.
So I wouldn't cut ourselves short without a plow and a truck for this year.
Well, no, I personally, I would keep the 2016, the 250 that Casey's using, and I think it
Right.
makes sense to at least keep one other vehicle. I think for a pool vehicle, and we spend a ton of mileage, money in mileage. I mean, well, tons relative, I guess, but I mean, there's $30,000-$40,000 a year, I think, that we pay out, reimburse the mileage. If people are running around, can they use that pool vehicle? I mean, it seems to make sense. I mean,
And having the blue van here would be nice when the courier van is being used for athletics. They would just have to, use that, so it would definitely be a help.
what's the blue
The
van?
old-
the
the old
92
van,
or the
2001.
2001?
So it sounds like we really can't let go of any of the vans.
No, and I don't. We weren't really
necessarily on the
proposed.
list to begin with, but they're on the
No.
list because they're.
Because then you,
I just wanted a list of all the vehicles
Yeah.
so we knew what we had and what we didn't.
So those are keepers, and then it's just, what do you want to do with the 3 newer trucks? Is really the big question,
Right,
right?
right.
Well,
And Casey said, we need one to pull the trailers.
Right.
Like, I'll say trailers because we definitely have the van trailer, and then there's other times you need a trailer.
You need one for him to drive around or take
Right.
people
So there's
around.
2.
I mean,
Right.
You gotta have 2, so then, huh?
Get rid of the one.
right, the one at, what's 27,775.
Yeah, because the 2016
Plus plow.
350 has like 1,500 miles on it.
Well, that would be the only other argument is, do you get rid of the newest one because you get the most money for it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you do get the most money for it. Maybe you put them both on, and you see what you get the most money for, respectively, and you'd sell the one you do, and you keep the other. I don't know. I mean, you don't.
I would hate to have one of the older ones break down when they're out on the road, and you say, well, we got rid of our two newer ones.
Right.
Driving the older one, the reason why we got the newer ones is because the older
No, I
one.
think we're saying we're only gonna,
No, I would only get rid of one, but I was
Right.
saying if you don't know which one, you don't have to sell, I mean, you can put them online with the caveat that, you can reject any and all bids, you see which one you get the most money for, and you sell that one, and you just reject the bids for the other one and keep it.
I think we need to keep two.
Right.
Daisy
And then one for another.
Right.
use it.
I mean, do we want to nip this in the bud right away, not dragging it out, just say we keep the two newest ones?
Two newest ones and sell the old?
Makes
Okay.
no sense.
I mean, I think you can have residents say, well, we ran out, you bought all these new trucks, and now you're turning around and sell them.
Right.
And I don't need to
You're gonna get it anyway.
hear that.
All right, so then our recommendation would be to sell the 2015.
Correct.
Okay. And, would you look at, I'd be doing it the same way, auction it and,
All the vans.
two of the offers are good, we're gonna move forward with them. The other one, we're looking for a
sorry.
counter.
That's okay. And
Yes.
Sell
we're
the
keeping
2015.
all the vans, including the 2001.
correct, right, salvage the 92,
Except for the 2004 and the 2001 Ford.
right, negotiate on the 2005,
And then look to sell the 350, the 20,
The salvage.
Yeah, we have the two,
Do you have
Two that can go.
For trucks?
Oh, we can advertise.
I was gonna
But
say,
I'm saying
you'll
that you're
get
gonna
more
get
if
some.
you put it out there. You'll get
Well,
somebody that
Yeah.
has a truck
You get-
that wants parts off that sees it, and you'll get more money than
Well,
taking it
that's-
to a junkyard, which is only like probably around 250.
yeah. No, I'd see if you can I'd either throw it on the site, see what you get, or,
Free, right? You have
so, yeah, it's free.
I mean, there's a good chance Connor will buy it.
Once he gets a license.
It's nicer than the one he bought.
Apparently he's goddamn.
I'm trying to think of who I know that has a 92 Chevy that needs parts. I might actually, oh, two wheels around. Okay,
We're not allowed to use like Craigslist or any of that, right?
yeah,
Like, that's another,
eBay, Craigslist, yeah, I would dump it.
Craigslist, there's always guys
Yeah.
out
That's the
there
one we,
That's what we bought.
looking for a truck like that.
Yeah.
Show up.
Yeah.
We'll part it out.
I thought this one had plywood parts.
Salvage is like 300, put it on there for 400 plus. You'll
see
get
what
some-
happens.
All right, so the four vans we're keeping. The 2015 Ford 350 we recommend selling. The
Do you
216s,
see a figure on that?
well, I would,
27,775
plus what,
plow, so it's a 2-year-old plow.
probably four, so probably 30, what, 32?
I'd put,
Question for you, I know Amity Township is interested in that truck. Do you want me to talk to them
Yep.
first and
Sure,
get an offer
yes.
from them and let you know what that offer is?
Yeah.
Let them bid.
Right, I just,
No, because it'll save them the 8%. If they come back and say, I'll give you 32, I'd sell to them. You know what I mean? Like,
well, is that what we have to give we give
we don't. The buyer pays 8%. So,
on top of whatever?
on top of their fee. So I wouldn't,
Holy Moses.
I think it's 8%.
You in the wrong business.
Should be
Well,
sales.
no, I
Should be
No,
sales.
no, no.
wouldn't buy
There's,
anything off that site.
I have some more
there's a, it
quotes for
might,
it.
I thought it was 8%, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's probably 8% up to a max. But that's how Municipal makes money. We don't pay to list it. The buyer pays they pay a fee to buy it.
It must be, it's probably a per item, right? Like, up
It
to,
can't
like
be
you
any
said.
more than you pay tax when you buy a new car at the dealership, though, right?
Why? It's not taxed. It's not taxed to the state. It's taxed to the auction, or it's a fee to the auction site.
Oh,
That's how they make their money.
gotcha. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. If Amity's interested, it would save them
Right.
the cost of buying it through these,
I'll
the
talk to
site
them
is.
this week.
Okay.
I have to
And,
talk to Ally anyway about the middle school program, so.
but I would think, the plow was probably about the same, 6,400?
Yeah, it's the same plow.
And it's a couple
Yeah,
years
plow.
old, so probably $4,000 plus the 20, right? So 30, somewhere in the 32 range, I would think.
Plus 4K.
How many miles are on the 250 2016?
81,
1,000,
800, no, 8,000.
8,000. Yeah.
And the
Just thinking, if you're pulling a
350,
big trailer like the band trailer, you're gonna put less wear and tear on the 350.
right, that only has 12 or 1,500 miles on it, the 2016.
Okay.
And it's spec to pull the trailer. It had bigger leaf springs in the rear, everything was beefed up a little bit. Yeah.
Do you have the other equipment stuff, or
Well, as far as the custodial, you didn't put any of that out.
the ground?
We got 0 bids. The overseer, we had 0 bids, the aerator pretty much had 0
No,
bids.
but that custodial. I'm talking.
The custodial, we had
No.
next to nothing.
All right, and your only area of concern with the Minimax,
Yeah,
that they offered 1,800 for,
right.
did you talk to them about that?
I did not talk to them because I was waiting to see what the results were.
Okay. But the rest of the custodial, you're okay with?
That can go, yeah.
If they want it, they can take it. Now, as far as the grounds equipment, only 2 of them came in higher than, am I correct, Casey?
Yeah,
Two of them.
the 1435 mower with the enclosed cab over at Monocacy, and I believe the 4310 front end loader came in above the reserve. What we did with the mower for Monocacy, they offered $6,000 for it, with just the mower deck. The snow blower and the brush, we added $500 for each piece of equipment, made it $7,000 for the reserve, and that ended up being $7,100, I believe. And the gentleman has already emailed me and called today, just to try to start to arrange payment, picking it up and that kind of stuff for after the 26th, is that the next board meeting? Yeah. And the 4310 is the front end loader. I think that went to 9,000, if I'm not mistaken. I think
9750, this fellow from Massachusetts, no, Norristown, the other guy's from Connecticut.
And that was more than what
Yeah,
GCA
what they
offered, right?
offered.
So-
GCA on the, so that's the 14, or the
4310, I think.
40,
was the number.
4310.
Yeah.
They offered 8,000, and you've got 9750.
Can we tell GCA we got 9750? Do you want to beat it or match it?
Good.
And you can show it to them, like, look, this is what we got.
They had the opportunity to look online, though, and see what the bid
I'm
was
just
going
saying,
for.
well, that would be a lot easier, right?
It would. Is it fair to the people that bid on it
Easier
in
for
good
us.
faith?
Yeah, just
I
sell
mean,
it to
we're just
GCA.
taking the check. He's the one driving down
Right.
the trailer and handing you the check and leaving.
I mean, we have a
What if they
notary
want-
here, right, so you can do a bill of sale.
Oh, well, yeah, it might be different. But do you give him the chance to beat them?
Sure.
Sure. I'll do a little bidding war, and he wants it. Great.
And it is, I just looked, it is an 8% fee. That's, so, these people that are bidding $10,000, $15,000, they're paying,
And
Yeah,
there's no max.
if it's over 100,000, there's a max, but,
don't buy your Porsche on eBay.
yeah.
Now,
So-
on the other pieces, there were bids. For instance, on the bunker rate, GCA had offered 10 grand, and the high was 6,000.
Hmm.
And the overseer, they had offered 3,300, the high was 2,501. And the aerogator, we got them up to 7,500 on that, and the high bid was 4,000.
What the thing that we bought last year to do the fields?
The bunker rate.
Info check, yeah.
And that was, they offered 10, and what did we pay for that? Yeah.
16 has changed, all but, yes, middle 16s.
2 years ago, we paid 16.
A year ago?
Well, it was
2.
2 years ago?
coming up on 2, just after Casey got it.
This will be the second summer.
So those items that you were concerned about, you have the results, so you can go back to them and say, right?
Yeah, because the custodial pieces, that the 2 I had concerns about, the person that bought them from said, I'll buy them back and resell them, you know,
And that was just the mini-mags?
the Mini-Mag, yeah.
That was the $1,800
Yeah.
line item at the
Yeah.
top. So everything else in these custodial deals, and you told them that they were low on the tools as well. for the hand tools.
Just the one in the middle school.
Hold on
The
to that.
toolbox isn't quite full.
So you'll hold on to that for your own use.
Yeah.
All
So Casey can go back then and tell GCA what we were offered, see where that goes, and over the next 2 weeks, we'll move ahead with the 1435.
Could we do this? Could you, I guess, for the Thursday, I'd say maybe by Thursday, at least by Friday, before the next meeting, since
Give you
we're
a
going
summary.
like, send out a summary of the whole board with the highs highlighted, so that
Will do.
we don't have to pick through them and just say,
It'll be the
okay,
attachment, because I'll have it as a resolution
okay,
on the agenda. So
Okay.
I'll have a complete spread there, and by then Casey will have results from his bartering and negotiating here. All right?
I don't know if this is really a facilities issue or not, so you can tell me whether to talk about it or not, Jim, but I know there's been this whole issue of the truck, for personal use, non-personal use, and I know right now it's parked. I don't know how you guys feel, if you want to make a recommendation to the board that we let him use it, if we don't let him, or should we just let it go and let the board discuss it?
No, I think we can make a recommendation to the board.
Are you okay if we talk about that at facilities?
Well, yeah, the vehicle's not hard.
No, I mean to use it go back and forth. My personal opinion is, and I know it's not in writing, but to me, it was something that he was told by Mary Beth as part of his employment, that he would
Correct.
be able to use that truck, and he wasn't told anything about the mileage back and forth being taxable. So we could argue if we wanted to do it by IRS rules, we include that personal mileage as additional income, but then I also feel that we should compensate for what he would pay in taxes for that, or we relook at what he negotiated his starting salary based on the fact that he was going to have a personal truck to use back and forth to work, and that he wasn't going to be charged for that mileage. Now, 2 years later, we're saying to him, guess what, you don't get that truck. So, to me, that's not really fair. That's what he negotiated as his rate, or as part of his package. So, to me, I know, like I said, in order to do it right by IRS guidelines, you're supposed to claim that as additional income. But then I also think we should consider, I don't know what his tax rate is, but, if it's an additional $1,500 or $2,000, and he's at a 15% tax or something, that's another $150. I think we should sort of look at compensating for that. That's just my opinion.
I agree. It's not fair for him, I did the same job he did years ago.
Right.
And I had a vehicle, and I think it was like $6 a day out of my pay it came out to. It's income, according to the IRS. It goes on your W-2.
Right.
It's a company car.
Right.
Right.
So, there are only a few ways around it. If he's going to drive it to and from home, then we could up the amount that he makes to cover the cost of the tax.
Right, zeroed out.
But I think you're saying is either, if the two options that you're throwing out are, Casey uses the truck as a company car, forget the past, wipe the slate clean, he gets the car, it's a company car, he uses it as he sees fit, as long as he's not taking the family to Florida.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But, right?
Right.
And
Hardly.
I'm just, and then we have to treat it as a company car.
Correct.
Right.
Like the fact that Mary Beth and whoever overlooked that and didn't treat it as a company car, that's like an under the table deal, and I don't think we don't want to get involved in that.
Correct.
And if we're not going to let him have the truck, and we're going to say no, you're saying then we should consider a salary adjustment because that was part of his.
Correct.
Correct.
The other,
Yeah.
and you got to remember too, if he's called in, which he will be at night, then we're going to have to pay that mileage to come back. And
Right.
That could
It's
end
only-
up
it's
several.
only- right, it's-
I'm not advocating for either option. I'm
Right.
saying,
Yeah, if he has to come in on the weekend or something, now we're paying mileage.
Personally, he should just
For all that he
should just
does.
use the truck,
Correct.
and he should have to deal with whatever the taxes are, or whatever, whatever the company car, I don't know the letter of the law of the IRS, but if it's a company car, then you're certainly taxed on it.
Well, right, and I'm going one step further. I'm saying, because that wasn't part of his understanding when he took the job, that we should consider a yearly stipend, bonus, whatever, up a couple $100 or whatever is to cover the tax.
That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
It's not fair for him to take a position with a package, health, vehicle, safety. There's a value to that. If down the road we realize that was done incorrectly, and he has to pay a fee out of his own pocket for that vehicle, we should, if this is the choice, pay a stipend or increase his pay to cover, not
Correct.
zero out to the cost of that.
Right.
Or as it is right now, he drives his own personal vehicle here, and he uses the truck around town, and then he leaves on his own vehicle. But what's going to happen is we're going to look at what's the cost of his mileage versus the cost of that vehicle.
Correct.
It's the cost of the vehicle. We also have to look at, he works out of that truck. He has a home
Right.
office here, but he also works out of that truck.
He's got files and
So-
tools and, yeah.
I mean, that's why the truck was configured the way it is. It has Bluetooth and hands-free, and he also plows with it. We know during the bad weather days, he's 32 hours straight working.
Right.
So, does it make sense that he doesn't come into a home office directly? He goes to a school directly.
Right, I think so.
So it makes sense for him to have a vehicle that he could work out, a mobile office, may as well say. But now that there's financial ramifications on that, we should,
Yeah, but Jim, it should have been, it should have been treated as a company vehicle from the start.
but it wasn't.
I know, but, I mean, like, I'll be, like, so, if technically, he could get audited and be liable for back taxes on all the years he used that truck,
And as soon as I
right?
got here.
So if you look at it this way, whatever years he was using the truck, he didn't pay out of his pocket for that money, and he didn't have to pay it, so it was essentially free.
But
I agree on the whole, I totally agree on that he should have the truck and he should
I
drive
mean,
it and take it.
all previous individuals in his position have had a truck.
Right, so,
I'm not debating that.
so how much of it is it on us too, because we're supposed to be reporting the income?
Yeah, I'm with you.
You're right,
I'm with you. I'm
and
saying
probably
that,
paying
so he
Social
didn't have- he
Security
didn't pay
and
it.
all
He
that
didn't
other
have that
stuff on it too.
liability.
So,
For however long he used it, and then someone said, hey, we don't want him driving the truck, so then he has to park it. And I'm saying we should let him drive the truck, but then it probably makes sense, for his own protection, he should probably start,
But as soon
treating it
as,
as
as soon as
such.
Laura and I had this conversation, I said, well, he pays, right? I mean, that's just a
Right,
common
correct.
thing. I mean, I was a salesman for pharmaceuticals, and you had a car.
Yes.
It was income.
Yeah.
So we talked when I first got here, I said, oh, he pays, right? And you're like, no. I'm like, oh, we gotta fix that. That's why I thought it was a no-brainer that that's just how it is.
well,
But
I'm not
it
sure
took
I
this time.
understand the paying part, because I don't know they actually pay. It's just,
Well,
isn't it just included as additional income at the end of the year?
No,
Right,
sometimes
you pay
it's taken
tax
out of
on-
your- Sometimes it's taken out of your salary.
I'm not used to that. I'm just used to the values added
It's
to your
one or the other. You
income.
can have it taken out or you can
Okay.
pay it.
Right.
Yeah, it's-
My employees we have 5 very large service trucks. They take them home every day, and that's just part of the perk. I mean, you're
When I had my business, my guys were required to be on call.
Yep.
And that is how we always handled it with the IRS was, this was an expense of my company for my staff member to be on call. So it was my
Right.
day.
Right, and if you're on
For him to be
call,
available,
does that
kind of thing. So
relieve the IRS thing? Because it's not necessarily that he's being allowed to drive it back. It's that he's on call 24/7. So, I don't know, and I don't want to get into that. Maybe we ask the auditors, but I don't think it's fair that he took a job at a certain rate and
And I
he
can tell you-
negotiated a certain package and a certain
I talked to my
cost.
accountant as well, because of business and everything. I, of course, still have one. He's a partner at Herbine and Company. The value based on information I provided, $26,000 truck, estimated mileage, personal estimated mileage work, the gross value is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,400 based on the IRS calculation that he uses for his 400 clients that he deals with. Therefore, if it requires me tracking the mileage, that's fine.
But
You
they-
know, so
He's saying that 1,400 would be
a
what you would
gross
tax.
income.
The
that would be a
additional
gross
income.
So you would pay income tax on the 1,400.
Correct, right. It would
Roughly.
change every year,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know, it would, that is roughly what, based on,
Is he basing that on MSRP?
on fair market value, because the school district still has the truck, it's still an asset of the truck, I mean, it's the school district. So there's a whole formula. Like he said, I'm not even sure how the IRS does it. He goes, I just input everything. There's a gas allocation, there's this allocation, there's a maintenance allocation. He goes, the IRS bases all that in their calculation.
Right, because you don't have to do it by mileage. You can
No.
do it by,
Yeah,
There's
there's
a
three
couple-
different ways.
Right.
yeah, there's
You have
different
the- You
calculations.
have the commuting mileage formula, which is basically 54 cents times the commuting mileage. But then the question comes down is it all commuting miles, or did you do something in between going and coming? So that's where you come in with the lease value formula. There's at least three different formulas. The reason I said, when you said 26,000, the MSRP on this truck would be higher than 26,000.
Correct.
so then we're at least all in agreement that he should be able to use the,
Correct.
you take the vehicle home.
Yeah.
Yes, we're talking a trivial
I would
amount.
agree with taking that privilege away, personally.
Personally, if he's called in, he comes
Right.
in, he has to
Come
go
all the
to,
way
he has to
here
go to
to get
one
the truck
school,
and then go
get the
somewhere.
truck, and then go to another school where the problem lies. And then not to mention, is your tools and files still in that truck every night?
I leave my stuff in the truck here.
So if the truck is broken into, who's liable for that equipment in the truck? That's another reason why our technicians are very well equipped and those trucks do not leave their side.
The question came on the tax liability side,
Right.
that's why the truck was parked.
Well, and this is just me, and I don't know.
Well, I think
don't-
we could have worked
I mean,
that
you-
out.
I
We would
think
have
you
had
guys
the
were
truck.
looking at like 3,000 or 4,000, correct? I mean, there's.
Well, if you use the commuting miles.
Right. So maybe we need to figure out a number because I don't know. For me personally, I might be not quite as upset if I had to pay additional tax on 1,400 as opposed to 4,500 or 5,000. I mean, and I'm not saying he shouldn't be. I'm just saying there's a big difference between 1,400 and 4 or 4,500, and then you know whether or not you compensate for that difference and what the tax would be. Could be a whole other discussion, but I think first and foremost, he should be able to take the truck home and we need to figure out,
Work through it.
But I think the opposition was less about the taxes and more about putting mileage on this brand new truck. Because we could sell it for, you know, it's an asset.
well, that was the majority of people's
I'm
opposition.
just saying,
and,
that was how it became
Right.
an issue and how we landed on Casey parked the truck until we figured it out. And I just,
well, it's Herbine's are auditors too,
Yeah,
right?
they're here this week.
So can we just ask them what that would be?
I contacted them back when Jim and I first talked, and she sent over a formula, but it better be this, I'll pull up that email. And you're saying your accountant is with Irvine too, so.
Yeah, he's one of the partners.
Okay. Let me, there may be three different options for establishing the value. Let's look at them all and determine what the value is. I think we're all in agreement that if there's a taxable value, we want to establish that. And then the decision is, does the board, based on what Casey was promised,
Correct.
what they want to do to offset his liability?
There is one
Correct.
other thing, though. We're the only district in the county that does it this way.
goes in what way?
Provide you with-
Provides the-
Well, we're not arguing.
I don't really
How
care.
does every district handle the taxation?
A lot of the other districts, the guys are able to use it as needed to take home bad weather, blah, 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 with no tax liability.
So nobody else
It's
is
not
really
advisory.
taking one all the time.
So they don't, it's not a company car for them?
Correct.
That's what I said. if
But
bad
we're
weather
saying,
like
we're
that-
saying you use it every day to commute back and forth to work.
Like from Halloween, like from
Yeah.
Halloween to Easter, take it home. You know, those are the bad weather, that's the bad.
Well, but I think what Casey just said was, every district doesn't do it that way.
No, they are letting them do it, but it's not an everyday 365 days or
And if they're going
280.
from their house to a meeting, they'll take the truck home that night to go to the meeting rather than coming in to get the truck. A lot of them do that.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I'm saying, you're taking the truck home,
Right.
it's your work car, you're going to work, from work,
Right.
to a building, to a a mess to an event,
Right.
whatever it is.
And I'm not as personally
Right.
worried about what all the other districts are doing, because if we're gonna get into that, then are we gonna look at what all the other districts pay their facilities director and, you know, this, that, and the other thing? I mean, this is what we agreed to pay him, and as part of the package, when we hired him, we didn't, you know, I don't, to me, that's what I don't care what everybody else says.
It's sort of fair that that's going to be an
I know.
argument to put out there. Like, I'm fine with him taking the vehicle, and I said publicly that it's a hassle having a vehicle like this.
Right.
You can't.
The
do
name's on
what
the
you
side.
need to do right after
Right.
work, because you gotta take this thing home and park it, and then hop in your own and go back.
Right.
It's a hassle. But it is convenient, and it does work, because that's his mobile office, and he has to travel. But on top of that, though, there are tax implications when we do it that way. We just have to make sure that.
Oh, yeah, we get a clear window of what formula we're using.
The
One-
last time Casey and I had an alarm in an empty, what was that, 3 o'clock on a Saturday morning?
Right.
Sunday morning, 3 in the morning, to run somewhere and switch out your vehicles.
Right.
And we're gonna pay mileage for that too. I mean, it's gonna cost us more in the long run.
Casey was
you
over
know?
Sunday mornings doing the fields,
So,
raking the fields.
Friday night, we had kids on the walkway going down to the football stadium. I unfortunately had my personal car there. By the time I realized it, till I would have run back here, got the truck, gone over there. Of course, I was in shorts and a polo. It wasn't like I was in work clothes. You know,
Right.
it was, you know.
all right. So, all right, I can make that, I mean, I can pass that recommendation on. All right, so, sorry, we are running slow, but I wanted to get that done with. Do you have anything you want to update on custodial things, how things are going?
I just, it's been a process, you know, with them, and I'm going to keep it as politically correct as I can. With their staff changing, people they hire don't show up to work. It seems they have a pretty good workforce in place now. There's still some holes in the workforce. Some ground stuff is getting delayed, just not being on top of things, which they're trying to work through with the 2 gentlemen they hired. So it's been a challenge. It has been a challenge trying to figure out how we're going to communicate. Now that they kind of have their head custodians in place, sent an email out today to the principals, and now that they have their head custodians in place, now we kind of have some stability at the schools. Before it was kind of the chaos to get everything done at the end of summer. So I'm hoping these next couple weeks, you know, now that I'm not running around as bad, trying to get things done, Doug and I can sit down more, and instead of having the quick 5-minute phone call, hey, I have this issue, I have that issue, hey, can you take care of that, can you take care of that, kind of thing, you know. So him and I are trying to figure out how we're going to get that process to work as well. So
Principals, any comments, complaints,
Really
concerns?
nice job in my building. Very pleased.
Aaron? Doesn't look quite as convinced, but,
Slightly different perspective from Aaron.
It's a process.
all right, well, I would just, my only comment to me, right now, you're satisfied, you know, is make sure that we're communicating that.
frustrated but satisfied.
Back- right,
Kind of.
back
Are we
to-
writing anything up as far as
Right,
what
that-
can be done
Yeah.
We're
better?
That was the
keeping
key.
notes,
The
track.
principals are communicating with Doug, hey, you know, this area wasn't done or that area wasn't done. So I think it's more of,
That documented?
Oh, so are we doing that?
yeah,
in
via
writing?
email.
Okay.
It's all
Okay.
via email, and I know Aaron has a long list of things that were not done during the summer, but that was the custodial staff assuming certain rooms weren't being used, so they didn't go in and clean them, you know, and things weren't done that way. So
Every room should be clean, whether it's
Maybe
used
put a
or
little
not.
sticker on it that
Correct.
says "Don't
It-
clean,"
Correct.
Right,
So-
but,
and they won't see any, and then they'll know to clean those rooms.
Well, in the summer when the kids aren't there,
Yeah.
that's when our, you know,
You put
our,
tape
our
on the door,
building
see
is
if it's
not
open.
young. It's not new, but that doesn't mean that it can't be cleaned, taken care of.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a little more elbow grease, and I feel like there wasn't much of it used this summer.
So when the manager or whatever, your counterpart, was here, he talked about the requisition orders. You know, like I need this done, I need this done, I need this done.
The
Are those
work orders?
things? The work orders,
They
are they
have
being
they have
done
a
in a
lot.
timely
Well,
fashion?
They're not, they only really have maintenance now for 2 weeks. So those guys are just starting to learn the work order system. They were trained on Thursday. But we still don't have ID badges on the staff. They only took pictures on Tuesday for all the staff. You
Is that
know,
our issue?
That's their issue. They were supposed to have them pretty much day one.
No, it's
So-
our concern.
No, but
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Right.
we don't,
We're not
They have to
issuing
get their
it.
own badge.
Right.
They wearing our ID badges?
They have no ID badges right now.
No, they're not wearing our ID badges.
No, they're not wearing GCAs either. They just
But
have a
they
GCA
the
shirt.
GCA shirt.
Some of them
I got a
do.
call the
Yeah.
other day where Doug was the only one getting the ID badge, not the employees, because they had the GCA shirts.
Yeah, but I thought they
I
all
still
had to
think they
have.
should have an ID
I
badge.
know he took.
Contract on that.
I thought they all had to have ID badges as well, and he took pictures of all the staff on Tuesday.
If not, I
unless they
think
want to
we-
sign in every day.
Right.
Right.
Well, they
The biggest thing with the work orders is, now that I have school dudes, so the staff comes to me if there's a problem. If it can go through Casey, like for the air conditioning, if, they go walk into the room, the air conditioning's not on, I usually forward Casey the email quick, and instead of the teacher's name, I put the room number on there. He can check it on his computer and get back to me. It had to reset, whatever, and then I can respond to the teacher email. Stuff like that goes smooth, but when it's a maintenance concern or something that needs to be fixed, I put a work order in, and then I check on it next day. If I'm in there for some reason, I see that Casey forwarded on to Doug. And then it's like,
That's where it sits.
it just sits. I don't know, are they working on it? Are
Doug's
they ordering
the guy-
parts?
Doug is.
Is it gonna get
my
done next
counterpart,
week?
so-
Is it gonna
and
be
that's-
done
And
a
that's what I
month
have
from
to sit
now?
down with him too,
Do you
now
have a
that.
schedule board on these
No.
tasks?
Well, I started putting completion dates, like requested completion dates. I'll mark ones that are emergencies. I wouldn't say emergencies, that I feel need to be done within the next day or two as an emergency. I'm not sure how much Doug is using the school dude as well. So that's part of the conversation that him and I have to have, is saying, hey, now that Curtis and Scott are in the positions as maintenance, when I get a request, like Aaron will put it, like today, he had a request for 224 was hot. So I went into the HVAC system, saw the condensate overflow switch had tripped. Just means the drain's probably partially blocked. It was the first day of the week. It's condensing a lot. It just didn't drain away fast enough. So what I did is I went in and reset the unit. The compressor came on, started cooling the space down. So I put a work order into Kenny, saying, hey, Kenny, do me a favor, check 224 this afternoon or tomorrow morning. It reset, but there is an issue. So, and that's what, if Doug wants me to do that more and forward those little work requests to the staff directly, I have no problem doing that. It's just, there again, I haven't taken the time to sit down with Doug and have that 4 or 5 hour, heart to heart, okay, how are we doing this? It was the first week of school. We were still both kind of running around. He still didn't really have the staff in place. And we both know we're at fault for not doing that. So, but we're
And
trying.
we did meet the other
Yeah.
day.
Yep.
We all met the other day to
Yep.
sit down and talk and say how they need to spend more time together. Because one day I called
Right.
Casey, I was already up in Birdsboro, asked a question. And I said, well, okay, where's Doug? He said, I don't know. I called Doug. I said, where's Casey? He said, I don't know. They're both at the high school together. I said, guys, you got to ride the truck, be in the trucks together, riding around. Staff needs to see you both together. You need to know which,
I mean, I don't
one's
think
the
you
left
got,
hand, one's the right hand.
I don't think it's all the time. I mean, obviously you have
Well, no.
tasks that he has to do.
No,
so.
not all the time, but for the first up and coming week or so, they need to go around and.
Is there a day
be on
that
the same
maybe,
page
or a
together.
morning that you could do a review?
And that's what him and I want to pick, like what day of the week works best for him, what day of the week works best for me, and we just have to, and as we both are guilty, we both don't put it in our schedule, and
Like a
that's
daily
what we
10-minute conversation.
and that's what we need to do.
We have our service
Yeah.
teams that
Check in once a day.
have whiteboards and
Yeah,
what's
even
on the
lunch
road,
breaks.
what's in the
Sit there
shop.
and have a sandwich together.
I'm just saying, like,
And that's just what we need. I mean,
Hey,
that's
every
just
day
something
at
him and I
10,
have
we're
to
gonna-
work
Does he
out on.
work out of the
5-minute
district?
conversation.
He is over
Good.
the high school annex, the old
So he
the
has
old
an
high school
office over there?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we talk multiple times during the day. It's just we haven't had that sit down of ironing out all the small things. So.
Now, see, I had just the opposite experience that Aaron had. When they were over there, it was a checklist, and they went through, was everything done? Boom, 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 it was like 6 or 7 items on there. So, maybe on one side it is getting done very
Six
organized.
items.
But I'm saying for that day.
I think, what did I have, 87?
Yeah, something
87
like that.
items.
I don't know if they would respond in week in review. What's going to be done this week?
I do a walkthrough every 2 weeks. I start at 7 o'clock. It usually takes me till about 9 till I do the walkthrough and make the notes. And then it takes me about another 2 hours to write it completely up. And then I have the dates on it that I noted whatever it was, whether it was a brown ceiling tile or something wrong. And then when I do the next walkthrough, if it's off, I highlight it red for one
Does the system track the
walkthrough.
cycle time?
Yeah, yeah,
And do we have a contracted cycle time?
no,
Because we never had a base.
we never
Yeah.
really had it, yeah. Like right now, there's 126 open work orders. I think 12 of those are reminders for myself of a glycol leak here, or, you know, a pump leak or something like that, you know, just that are assigned to me. You know, but there's a large quantity of work out there, so I have been bringing some outside contractors in to take care of the bigger stuff, so they can start picking away at the small jobs, you know, and a lot of their jobs, you know, there's 9 water fountains and between 3 elementaries that need to be fixed. You know, there again, they need to learn how the buildings are laid out too. So it takes them a little more time. Like they don't know, okay, is 104 at Monocacy first or second floor, you know, kind of thing. So it does take them some time and trying to learn where the inventory parts are and stuff like that. So
I would think they'd have their own maps so that they
Yeah.
could.
And the 2 guys that we have are not the most qualified, you know, guys. So I've been giving them some jobs to see what they can and can't do.
So I say we give them 90 days.
Yep.
And then see where they are at 90
Yep.
days and assess it. And just go from there.
You
I
go
just
back
don't
and
wanna-
And that's what I do every weekend.
You pick
I don't
the
want it
old-
to drag out.
Yeah, I sit at home on the
Snowball until we
weekend.
start getting
Yeah.
parents at the,
I mean, the oldest work orders, do you go in and say, hey, these are, let's go, you got to clean
And I've been
this
asking
up.
him, what's the status of these work orders? Well, a lot of those are completed, and then Doug will go in and he'll mark some complete, you know, and I know for a fact there's some in there that are complete, but I'm not gonna mark them complete, because there again, I wanna know what was done
Right.
to resolve that issue.
They give you fairly good documentation.
They are, you know, and now that Curtis and Scott are the technicians, you know, I've been laying guidelines out. I need hours. I need to know what you're doing. I need legit hours so we know, is this something in the future I should tie you up for 4 or 5 hours, or should I bring a contractor in to have that one person there and have you take care of a lot of smaller
Just
things?
as long as you don't see repetitive
Correct.
documentation, said they fixed it and found out they worked on it 3 more times.
Correct.
So really, they
Right.
didn't do their job.
Like today, unfortunately,
find-
they have to replace a sink because we had a hot water element fail in the water heater in the annex. I was draining the hot water out of the system, and the water was so hot it cracked the sink, the porcelain sink at the drain. Yeah, so the good thing is I have spare sinks
Wow.
from doing the bathroom remodels. So, but there again, I'm probably going to call a contractor in for that, only because they have all the drain fittings, they have all the plumbing fittings on their truck. Our guys would have to take it apart, see what they need, go try to, you know, timing wise, it just won't make a whole lot of sense. I'd rather them go and fix all the little water fountain leaks and all that kind of small stuff. So, but yeah, I was there draining the water, and also hear pop, 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 and I'm like, whoa, what's that? And I see big cracks coming up from the porcelain sink, so.
Question. The big thing for me would be snow. How are they getting ready for snow removal?
Well,
And keep the trucks.
there are snow blowers. They have snow blowers. They had purchased shovels and that kind of stuff.
I'm talking about
electric shovels.
the parking lots and things.
Well, I
Also,
had talked to Lauren, and we need to put an RFP out for pricing rates for
right, so we
plowing.
need to get that.
We need to get
because-
moving
they
on that
only
then.
do to the curb.
Right, yeah, okay, I forgot, yeah, so we need to get on that right away, because it's gonna
We're doing
snow
that this month.
tomorrow, probably.
So as I would say, is GCA is responsible for curb to house, you know, curb in, and then we're responsible for
So
mechanical.
all lots.
All lots, driveways are on
We need
us.
this one.
So,
Lauren, what'd you find?
All contracted personnel must wear at all times the approved uniform and the approved ID badge that will be charged to the contractor. If ID badge is lost or stolen, the district will be notified immediately, and a replacement ID badge will be reissued to the contractor's personnel at a cost of $10 per occurrence, which indicates to me That we're supposed to be providing the ID badge to their people.
And billing it back to the
Billing
contractor.
the contractor and.
So who does that normally, who does ID
Get their
badge?
pictures taken and.
There we go.
Who's-
Get your camera out.
Kathy used to do that, McNeely.
How long does that take
She
to
does.
process
Still
it?
here?
Does she
She
still,
doesn't.
is this
She doesn't.
part of her? Yeah,
She uses the camera that we use for the board.
okay.
Just
The
take
other
the
one's
picture of Scott
broken.
Metz's
Right.
print bucket.
I don't know.
Okay, can
I
we,
didn't
I don't,
touch it.
can we
I
go
can
through
hit
some of
these
this
real
real quick?
quick.
Okay,
Yep.
because I do want to talk about doors.
Okay,
So-
high school roof update. They're moving along excellent. The weather has been our friend, without a doubt. Just so everybody, if you want to look, this is the front of the school.
Looks good.
This is the auxiliary gym. Here's the gymnasium. So this upper roof section 1 is done, and they are roughly about somewhere in this neck of the woods on section 2. So we are watertight from the front canopy all the way to about the mid section of the classroom hallway. So, and I think after this week, they'll probably have the majority of that area done. I mean, they have extra guys up there. They had another job wrap up quicker, so they are moving right along. I mean, like the roof flashing stuff's not done, but the 2x4s are down. Everything's pinned, everything's glued, everything's sealed. So we are watertight. And that's going great. The manager they have on site is great. The guys are really good. I'm very pleased. We've had no impact to classrooms, no smell issues. The adhesive they're using is a very low VOC. I was up there when they were spraying it and didn't even really smell it. It smelled like latex, you know. So that's going well. Just so you know, they are pricing this next 2 sections and the CAF roof, so we can have those conversations to get them on the calendar for next summer, rather than during the school year. So,
Okay.
and the rusty roof over the library. High school bathroom partition update, completed, went well. They have a couple little trim pieces that they want to change, which are ordered. We redid the sinks and faucets in the boys' D wing bathroom and the girls' B wing. We went to hands-free faucets, so it's less chance of them clogging sinks up with toilet paper and letting the faucets run. So we will be going to that style for all future repairs. So I have multiple
Sorry.
different size
I wasn't brought up
sets
vandalizing the fun.
for that. So what we did is we replaced all the sinks, kept the old sinks for spares. So that's all done. That's all finished. High school gym rooftop replacement. Just want to make everybody aware. Unit number 3D has a bad compressor and a leak. There's 2 circuits. Circuit 1 has a leak in the coil from it rubbing. Circuit 2 has a bad compressor. I had them stop at that point because I didn't want to go spend the money to repair the leak in circuit 1 and then find another bad compressor. And then we might as well just replace the unit at that point rather than replacing 2 compressors. They're 20 years old, so I have trained, getting me numbers on control replacements, just an upgrade for that unit. That unit is R22 yet, so we're paying about $35 a pound for refrigerant. The economizer is no longer operable. That's on it. So it's seen its better days to a point, but depending on cost of replacement, it may be cheaper to Band-Aid it for now and get us by. But we have 4 of them. All those rooftops on the new part of the high school are all aging at the same time. So this, not to say be prepared, but be prepared for the next 5 to 10 years.
You can't convert that from R22.
No, and the problem is that where the coil was rubbing, it's on the 180 bends. There's 4 spots where it was rubbing. Only 1 is leaking right now. There's nothing to fix on the other ones, so I'm concerned that the copper has gotten a little thinner, and I don't want to see a pinhole come up and we blow up a compressor again. So
They don't have triggers on them to shut them down?
no, not on the old ones. The new ones do.
Yeah.
The new ones do, but a 20-year-old unit doesn't have it. high school door replacements, just making the laundry room, this is all at the high school. Laundry room, volleyball storage, wrestling room storage, and the team room door. Currently, the team room door has a padlock and a hasp on it. So if somebody's in that team room and their other means of exit is blocked, they can't get out of that building. I mean, they can't get out of that room. So it's a fire code issue. The two storage, the volleyball and wrestling storage, the internal locks have failed. One has a padlock on it, one has nothing on it right now because that we just took the guts out of it, so it's open. And the laundry, they can't lock it. The locks failed. So that's $7,200. We really don't have a choice in replacing those. Those need to be replaced. These are fairly inexpensive replacements because it's just a door. There's no closure, there's no panic bar. It's just a door handle. It's a storage room, more or less. So
It needs a lock.
that needs to be locked.
Yeah.
So we went bare bones doors. We'll paint the doors. So.
And what did you say was 7,200?
$7,265
Each or all together?
total.
Okay.
Are they the
For-
metal or the wood?
They'd be the metal.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like A3 and all those.
Correct.
Yeah.
The same as A3, A4, and the custodial
How
closets
many
that we
doors
did.
is that?
It's 2,
4.
4, 5.
Oh, four.
It's 3 pairs of 2 and one door by itself.
Who's gonna paint the doors?
Our staff does.
GCA.
Yeah.
There's a work order in for the gray ones that are.
Yeah. Yep. So that's that one. One we need to talk about, I just want to bring up to speed on it. Our courtroom doors that go into the courtroom in the annex, courtyards, not courtroom.
I was like, we have a
sorry.
courtroom?
I was like,
Sorry.
we're like the
Courtyards.
Judge McCaffrey?
We had a wasp nest
Seamus.
actually up in the door frame, up in the one, and it actually built a nest up in the block wall. So we actually had wasps coming into the school because they made the nest up in the door frame. All of those doors no longer have knobs that lock. What they have is they have an L bracket with a 5/16 sheet metal screw head is the lock for the courtroom, courtyards. I'm saying courtrooms, courtyards. So we have 8 doors, 8 doors total. That would need a full frame tear out, new frames, new doors.
it's bad.
You're looking at
one that-
$30,000.
$7 million.
So it's not something that has to be done right away, but it definitely will need to be done come summertime.
Eight
Because-
doors, eight sets.
And that's frame and everything. That's full tear out. So what they're doing, these are hollow metal doors with galvanized steel frames. He's going to price up the aluminum frames that are black, the black aluminum frames with the fiberglass doors. But it's going to be much more money, but it's a maintenance issue as well. So, I mean, you got 50 years out of these. If we keep them painted, you should be fine. So that's that one.
But I mean, the one door that Casey's talking about has, the whole top of it is
Is
rotted.
run out.
Yeah.
And then to keep the wasps out in an effort, at some point before
They
both
put
of
expanded
us,
foam in there.
they sprayed the expandable foam, so now the
Yeah.
expandable foam is just
That
like
fixed it
sticking
all.
out of
Yeah.
the door. So,
I mean, I was just like, I can't wait to hear the bill on that.
you gotta be a door guy.
I've learned, I
Yeah.
mean, I just.
They standard size?
They're, I didn't write down the size. They're like 30s. They're like 30 or 32-inch doors. It's just a labor-intensive job because those old frames are grouted in as well as anchored. So it's not just take a Sawzall down and cut off the bolts and pull it out. So it is.
Put an arch or something, feature.
You need double doors. Could you close them into one door?
They are one door.
Oh,
There's
okay.
8 single doors.
8 single doors.
Yeah. So, and these have what they have is they have an old skylight above the door. That's just a flat panel. So we're just doing a flat panel again. There's no sense spending money for a window. So there's windows all around this courtyard. So, and then the gym area doors, the doors that go into the gymnasium from the hallway, we're starting to have some nuisance issues with those as well. Due to the style of the door. One set has been replaced before. These doors, of course, would need all the panic hardware and stuff like that, so you're looking another 16,000 for 3 pairs of doors. So, you know,
All right, well, since we're
we'll,
not doing that tonight, I wanted to talk about
No, no.
doors real quick otherwise.
no, that's fine. And then,
Does the door that was supposedly open over the weekend not work?
No, it works.
No, that one works.
And I was made aware of it today. The
Are any of the doors not working that we know of? And I'm
No.
assuming you go around
All
and
of the
test
doors
doors.
that are on the exterior of the building have been checked and are functional. Today I found the dock door, which is, as far as I know, no staff
For the
or
annex.
student ever used, so I
Well,
really
somebody
don't know
does-
how it got open,
They
and
sneak
camera
out.
15 does not work,
Yeah, the
so I can't
students
see
sneak
it.
out back there. When I was looking at the equipment, is that one you're
the
talking
one
about?
out the back that we
Well, how
look
much
at the
is a
light in.
replacement camera?
15,
That's
100?
number 15 is the camera.
15, that's the outside one, that's
Oh.
gonna
Above the
be,
boys' locker room.
yeah, we're gonna upgrade, that one is gonna be upgraded to IP. You're looking probably about, the camera will only be a couple $100, but we gotta pull the wire all the way back to the network closet. So that's where the cost is.
Because I think
So
we
I'll
need to
I'll
get that
the
done if
price.
that's not working.
Okay.
Like, and this is just my opinion, I think we need to, if we find doors open,
Mm-hmm.
we need to tell whoever, I mean, if, I don't know if cameras are on most of the doors, we need to just see if we can determine
We
who
have
has that door open.
48 exterior doors,
Yeah,
and off the top of my head, I think you're looking at about 20 that are covered with the camera.
and I wouldn't even say they're covered well.
Now, I know
Yeah.
Preston, I was with Preston this afternoon or morning, he reached out to George because it's usually the athletic people who go in and out and they prop it open. And I know custodians at night, they'll put out,
Yeah.
that's why if you look at all these doors, you'll see a
Right.
little wedge.
Yes.
Yeah.
The doors are propped
Little
open.
rock.
They'll load everything, or rock, they'll load everything by the door, and then at night they'll go in and out, just
Yeah.
for convenience.
Well, the other one today, for instance, I was coming to see Casey because I knew he was in the building, and so a staff member said door 5 is dog down. Dog down means when you push the panic bar on the inside and you use the key to lock the panic bar in, the door's open. Door 5 is dog down. I'm like, oh, so I go undo it. I don't know who did it. I'll look later. So then I'm with Casey for a little bit. I go in to see if the football coaches are in there. Talk about that door, and Preston's secretary calls me, and she said, you lock the door that they're going to use to let the kids in to do the portrait retakes for senior portraits. So that was supposed to be dog down.
Right. So then
There's no one
Don,
at the door,
so then Don,
so we're
Don,
expecting people to come in that door and walk all the way across the high school to where the portrait
Why?
people are set
Is there
up.
not a closer door?
No, not from the front of the building where they would park. The back of the building where the stadium is, there's a door, but
Well, but then,
and then what happened
Shouldn't-
too was Don went
You
back
know that?
up, dogged the door back down. I was in the IT office upgrading my laptop connections, and the security guy walked in and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I just undogged that door that was dogged down." So in a matter of
Yeah.
20 minutes, 4 people
Yeah.
had their key
Well,
on that door.
what time are portrait retakes?
3 to
So there's nobody here in the
6.
office to let them in?
But door 5 is on the other end of the
Yeah, it's
annex.
up the other
It's on the other
Door
side
Door
of
1's your
the.
main entrance, 5
Main
is
entrance,
almost all the way
5.
But
down
I guess
here.
what I'm saying is there another door they could have come in that didn't have to be undogged? But whatever.
Not-
I,
To where they were now, not without them actually walking from the front all the way around to the back of the building.
Couldn't they have been moved
right,
to the
could,
back somewhere
right, could
so that
something
they could utilize one door we could watch?
With sports,
or that had a camera or something?
sports and band.
Now, in my past, and I was surprised that I went to, well, first week of school, I'm all over the place. I used to shut down buildings. There was a sensor that tells you which doors were closed. I remember one time I had a roof hatch that was open because someone went up there and put a screwdriver up there, and I'm like, "We're at sensor 28." They're like, "It's on the roof." I'm like, "Crap! It's 9 o'clock. I gotta go up to a roof and close the hatch," you know. But that will tell you, and you know, motion in the hall. There's no motion sensors in our building. I'm looking around like I don't see any red lights.
That's what I was wondering before.
Well, that all
We
about-
costs
don't
money.
have-
I think I asked that years
That
ago.
would
is
tell
there
us right
Right.
there
doors
something was propped
loose
open.
for a window?
Because I think if we can
But
start,
that's-
if we can start catching any of these, to me, the conversation needs to be had with whoever opened the door, propped the door, unlocked it, undogged the door that shouldn't be.
That
is
went out today.
If you get caught again, if you're a coach, you're fired. If you're a teacher, you're so, whatever we're allowed to do. But if it's a group, Blazer Mat Club, you're not using the building anymore. I mean, I think if you do something harsh enough once or twice, word will get around to stop doing
Well,
it.
security, and I'm telling Preston, should walk the perimeter, you see it, you just
We don't even know how long that door was like that.
Right,
You just undo it.
Could have been Friday. It could have been all weekend.
right.
But that student wrote that there's a door that everyone knows is open.
Well, that's why I'm
Not to
asking.
school.
That's
Yeah.
the door they leave open.
Well, she didn't say that it was propped open.
Well, I
She
can
said
give
the
you
door
this.
doesn't, everyone knows there's a door to high school.
We can give you
that
the
doesn't
student
shut
name. It's on a
properly,
public site.
and
If
they go in and out
you
of it.
can trace the student down and ask her
The,
what's broken.
I would assume it's 18 because I don't know why 18 was open. It's on the loading dock. There's nothing.
That's where they sneak in and out.
Yeah, so I
Just
locked it
smoke,
today and
probably.
went back through, and the
Maybe
camera.
it doesn't shut on its own unless you like,
It's
jam it
it's
shut.
not even a normal door. It's like you have a key on the outside, but when you get on the inside, it's just a hasp that you turn and it's a deadbolt.
Yeah, you can't
So-
put a key on the inside.
But the other thing is some of those double doors that have the full spline top to bottom. If you put your foot on the door next to it and you yank, you'll blow the hinge right off.
10
and pull it.
seconds, you'll have it open. Every door in that high school, you give me 5 minutes, I'll be in that room with just me.
They're not. It's not.
Exterior
It's not a
doors.
good design.
It's an awful design, and that's,
Well, you got the lowest bidder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
well, Total Doors, unfortunately, their salesman was very active in Berks County in the mid to late 90s. You can be glad you're not Wilson School District, they have 1,300 of them.
And he's getting out of jail when, I mean.
The company's out of business.
The doors that we got replaced, though, that whatever the company is, they're very nice. I was in the high school the day that the gentleman was there putting them in, and just to get one of those doors locked into the wall is amazing what he did. Like, we could hear him drilling into whatever he was drilling in the main office, and he was on the second floor. And that door, there's no movement in it. It closes smooth.
Dean is good, that installer.
But the problem is the facility is so large
Mm-hmm.
that there's no one place you can go to check and see if the doors are shut.
Right.
So you could, I've shut the building down on Saturdays, and the movie people were there, me, Megan, and Shelley were there. We shut it down, turned off the lights and everything, but there could be 2 doors open in the back. I drive around, but if it's a wedge, I'm not going to catch it from the car.
Right.
So, during the day, the security should walk the perimeter, just make sure that everything's locked. And once people know that's happening, but we need to look at security. I was at MEC with Melanie, and she goes, I don't know how to set my alarm. She goes to the fire panel. I said, no, that's the fire panel. Your alarm's over here. She goes, oh, I don't know the code for that. We've never used it. And her name's on the plaque of the building. So you would think her name's on the plaque.
don't
She would
use
know.
it.
Is there really an alarm?
Yeah.
No.
No. Well, what's by the door?
It's an alarm panel, but there's no monitoring, there's no,
Because at work, I have a flyer / burglar alarm, but it's only for fire.
With the
That's like
fake
the,
dog barking. we
It
have
says
the
it's
dog.
not armed, but it is.
Sign in your front lawn.
It's
Have a camera with a
It's
wire
a dual
going to the
panel, but
wall.
you only have one. You only have one of the systems, probably. Because that's how mine is. I have a dual fire and burglar
So-
alarm, but it's
so-
only, we only
That's
paid
what
for
we
a
need in our
fire system.
buildings.
I hate to imagine how much we paid for that doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm like, I thought we had.
and none of our doors have any alarm contacts on them.
Yeah,
There's
that's what we need.
there's no
To know it's
sirens
open
on
or
them,
not.
and that was all part of the
Nice loud
infrastructure
alarm when you
getting
open
in
it.
was
Dog
with the
barking
whole
is that
card
thing, yeah.
access, the rekeying of the card access of getting the hardware, at least the software in the buildings, and again, the structure there that we can add to
Would
it.
that be wireless for those outside doors?
You can. It's just you need a little more equipment. It's actually better to do them power over Ethernet anymore. The Wi-Fi is pretty good, but you end up spending a lot of money with the size of our building. You'd have to put repeaters in, and when we looked at it, it was cheaper to go with the PoE rather than doing Wi-Fi.
If someone could kick
That's
open our doors, go and take everything out.
You have no
We
idea.
wouldn't know it until first thing.
I mean, that might be something that we start
Well, as a matter of
next year.
fact, Friday night when the trooper was there, he was talking to us about, he remembers Daniel Boone because it was his first call ever, was a vandalism case at the high school. This was, I don't even know.
That
how
was
long.
was that the
Oh,
key?
is that the gym floor
The
thing?
gym floor spray
Okay,
painted with the
yeah.
picture?
Yeah.
Okay, we have 4 minutes. I have
Yeah, we
something.
need- okay,
I
yeah.
have something. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't add some.
No, this is Relay for Life. Okay, you blinked. I got to the blink.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with this? Because I got their facility requests, I got the inside, and I got the outside. I signed it, but I'm holding on to it. There's no cost to this. Okay?
Yeah.
So, in talking to folks that are here, they feel that this is a huge thing, a huge program, and it is. And I know you're feeling this, but I have it in my hand. What would we like to do with this? And then do we need to sit down with these folks and have a conversation?
I-
Or, you
Yeah.
know,
I think so.
and.
Because 100% does not go for research. There is salary
Very
involved.
little goes for
And
research.
I'll tell you,
that's all
the
I know.
last Relay for Life, that was cold and wet. I did participate. That was cold and wet.
So we're gonna have a sit down with these folks
Yes.
and lay out the cost to them. Okay, and if they say we can't pay or we won't pay, then they go.
So the policy prevails.
Right, that's why I'm holding this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Other
can't-
people
I-
have been getting charged,
right.
Yeah, we
but
we
this
can't
is the
bet.
big one.
I
I know your
understand.
feelings on it.
I understand that it's a big event for the school, but it's still a third-party
And I
event.
think there's other districts that are reviewing.
Yes, Pottstown
this-
is too
the
now, I
same
think. I read a whole article on
organization.
Pottsgrove, I think it was, looking at it. So, I mean, we can sit down and talk to them, but,
I mean,
We'll
everything.
talk, we got them,
Yeah.
right? We can talk to them, tell them the cost, and we got it.
I mean, right now, we're talking, securing a building, and
all right,
Key discussion.
can that wait or no?
Just,
Because,
if there's money in capital, and this can be discussed next facilities, we definitely have to look at the high school recant. It's a mess. The more Aaron and I are tearing into it, it's a lot worse than what we even his sheets that say certain keys or certain doors aren't that way. And we're finding a lot of things that are just all over the place.
Took me almost a
We
week.
did the annex. I have all the hardware for the annex.
Right,
all
we-
the
But
key
they're not
cords for the
in.
annex.
we thought we could just
but
do
they're
the
not in.
annex, but
But they're not in.
They're not in, so we need to get that, we need to get that rolling.
that was,
So-
how much for,
it's like 30,
Well, we bought everything for the annex, so probably another 35 grand for the hardware for the rest of the high school. We're looking at about a $10,000 to $12,000 cost to install everything at the annex that needs to be installed. So I'm gonna have that conversation with Doug. That was gonna be done with in-house staff. So he either needs to get somebody here to start picking away at that, or they're gonna have to pony up some money for a contractor.